Tonight, many North Carolinians headed to the polls to settle some major runoff elections in North Carolina.
And we have to think the weather affected the turnout today. Who was going to face off in the 13th congressional district, the state auditor's race, and the lieutenant governor's race in November? That was settled.
WRAL's Dan Haggerty and Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie have been watching the returns all night. They join us now with the results. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Hey, we're going to start here with what was not a huge surprise here. No. This is the 13th district. We saw Brad Knott really 90% of the vote here. Of course, Kelly Daughtry had dropped out of the race, but man, a really interesting trajectory to get to tonight.
You know, it was. I mean, this was actually Kelly Daughtry led after the primary, but then Donald Trump, who did not get involved in the first part of the primary, endorsed Brad Knott in the runoff, and that was pretty much the death knell for the Daughtry campaign. It was just a few weeks after that she announced that she was suspending her campaign and endorsing Daughtry. I mean, it was Knott, rather.
Right. Interesting. Tonight, she's still 9% of the vote, despite the fact that she had already dropped out.
You can see there's a little bit of green right around the south of Smithfield and a little bit in northern Wake County, which is probably her strongholds.
We are covering the campaign tonight. WRAL's Aaron Thomas is live from Brad Knott's, I guess, victory party at this point, though I'm pretty sure he knew things were wrapped up earlier.
Yeah, Dan, in fact, not only Brad Knott, but his supporters, some of which you see here at Lafayette Grill in North Raleigh, many of them were surprised when this race was called in his favor earlier this evening. In fact, we want to show you the moment that we saw Brad Knott, this former federal prosecutor, gathering and mingling one-on-one with more than 100 people who filled this space as they were waiting for the results to come in. Now, Knott addressed the crowd shortly afterwards, thanking his supporters and a number of politicians, including former President Donald Trump and Senator Ted Budd. Now, tonight's outcome was expected, with GOP opponent Kelly Daughtry dropping out of this race after Knott picked up an endorsement from Trump. Knott told the crowd that endorsement was a, quote, gracious boost to the campaign. Now, I asked him earlier this evening, shortly after the race was called, how he plans to sway the unaffiliated voters here in our state and how those outside of the victory party in the November general election.
How do you convince those voters to vote for you in the general election?
Yeah, it's a great question. Again, we look forward to talking to anybody. In this campaign that we just finished, we talked to a lot of independents, we talked to a lot of unaffiliated, and then obviously Republicans. But our solutions, they're not partisan solutions. You know, what we've advocated for is strengthening law enforcement, securing the border, managing spending in a responsible way, cutting back where we can. Those aren't partisan solutions.
Yeah, Brad Knott tells me that he's already looking forward to hitting the ground running. He will face off against Democrat Frank Pierce in the November general election. Aaron Thomas, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.